It's retro time!
I told you you'd know what it is.
This is multiple boxes here. It's actually multiple different things. So let's start with this here, which is the base of what all of this is going to come together from. This is the Terasic / Intel, actually owned by Intel, FPGA called the DE10 Nano. Why an FPGA? Well, it can be used to play video games. Retro games, in fact. Actually, this thing is kind of interesting in itself. It's a project called Mister. So we got a starter guide here and a bunch of other stuff. Just throw that over there for now. We've got a power supply, plus we got two USB cables. One is micro and one is mini. There's the mini right there. Nice and chunky. Looks like some standoffs or feet. And the board itself. Now, what makes FPGAs special? They're kind of like processors, but not really. They're a lot slower than most processors are, but they execute code basically on the metal. Like, there's no operating system. It's for a single purpose. So you would use one of these for prototyping for an ASIC, or you could, run retro games on them, because why not? This is a pretty Raspberry Pi sized device here. So we've got Ethernet, we've got the two USBs, actually micro and mini for some reason, and we have another USB on the back, which is also mini, plus HDMI and our power. We also have GPIO, or general purpose IO pins. These will be used, I think, because not only are we going to have something for this to go into, which is kind of the other boxes there, but we should also have, I think, an expansion module to give it a little bit more RAM. Not 100% sure on that. Let me take a look at these other boxes and see what's inside. These were sent over by Neil from RMC, The Cave. So, hello, cave dwellers. Let's see what's in this main box here. Oh, that's tasty looking. This is the Mister Multisystem. There's two parts to this. There's this, and there's also a chassis as well. This is what we're going to be plugging this into. I think it goes in something like this. So we get the GPIO pins pointing down. And what that does is it breaks this out into SCART, if you want it, Ethernet, two USBs on the back, VGA or DB15. I forget what this switch is for. This I think is just straight up audio. This is digital audio, Toastlink. HDMI, it requires its own separate power adapter. And on the front here, we've got more USB ports and this USB port here. And I think also this one. These two are not USB. What they're wired for, okay, they are USB, but what they're wired for is something called SNAC, S-N-A-C, so Serial Native Accessory Connector, I think. What that does is it breaks out this USB into the native adapter for a Super Nintendo controller. Why would you want that? Well, it just so happens that we can run all kinds of emulators on this FPGA. Now, they're not actually emulators. They're also not actually what people seem to think they are. We'll get into that later. This is kind of an expansion port that can be used for all kinds of different things. So like for more SNAC connectors, for a JAMA harness, I think, which is like for plugging this into an arcade machine. There's also things like MIDI modules. So if you want to run old computers, like this can emulate old computers directly. Right now, I don't think there are any available that I know of, but I do know that there are some that are prototyped, aside from the JAMA harness. This here, there's a reason why this is kind of on this little snap tab thing on the PCB. There's some RAM here. There are RAM expansions you can get for these Terasic DE10s, and this has it built in, but if you want to use your own, you can. So let's move on to the next box. I'm told that Neil included some goodies for us, including some snack modules. I do like some snacks. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so we have an SD card, presumably, oh, wait, what? I thought he was going to preload an SD card. This is a sealed one. Okay, we'll see how this works out. And here is the chassis, or one of the chassis, because I think the other box includes another chassis. And you'll see why there are two chassis in a moment. Yeah, here we go. So if you live in North America, chances are you have no use for the giant, very foreign connector that is SCART. And in that case, you wouldn't want to use this chassis here. You'd probably want to use this one. So there's this chassis, if that's you. If you're me and you have a bunch of SCART devices, then you might use this one, so you can plug a SCART cable directly down into it. It's pretty interesting. There's two separate layouts you can use, and in fact, this here on the back of the SCART-less version allows you to hardwire a SCART cable into it if you so choose. So you're not stuck with one or the other. I don't have a SCART connector to show you right now, aside from what is on this PCB, but what that carries is basically everything from composite video to, I think in some cases, digital audio, as well as RGB video, which is similar to what you would get out of a VGA port, and that's why there's both of these here. Let's see what's in this. This looks like snack modules, so that's promising. That looks like Atari/Sega. This looks like original Nintendo. And I also have a Super Nintendo controller. So, does this come out? Yes, it does. There you go. One thing to note, there's a little fan in here. That's for keeping the fanless FPGA cool. I think there should also be, yes, there's a heatsink kit along with the screws and stuff that I need. So what I was going to show you is this snack connector. You plug it in like so. Then you can just plug in native peripherals like this Super Nintendo controller. I also have a Super Nintendo mouse that I'm going to try with some Mario Paint. I don't have a Super Scope or an NES Zapper or anything like that, and we don't have a CRT to run them on right now either, but it should support those. Are there any other questions you have about the I/O capabilities of the Mr. Multi-System? Jono?
No, it's pretty much just want to start seeing it.
You want to start seeing it. All right, well, we're going to have to put it together first. Thankfully, this video is sponsored by iFixit. iFixit makes compact toolkits with all the essential bits that you need to fix your electronics. From mini kits with 16 bits to full repair toolkits to start your repair business, iFixit has you covered. You can use iFixit's over 70,000 repair manuals featuring photos and detailed instructions, and you can work worry-free knowing that you've got quality parts backed by iFixit's lifetime warranty. Fix your stuff today and learn more at the link in the description below. This block of jumpers here actually controls some of what the HDMI output will actually output, so that you can disable HDMI CEC, or you can override the display data so that your capture card, for example, won't freak out if you're outputting a weird resolution that your monitor supports, but the capture card doesn't. So you can go ahead and switch those however you need to. I don't think we'll need to switch it at all, but they're there. So we just slap that on there, kind of the same way we would for a Raspberry Pi. So the Ethernet cable goes in there, and this here USB cable goes in here. It's a bit of a tight squeeze with that SCART connection. So the idea is that I can then bend these around and plug them directly into the E10 Nano, like so. It's a little jank, but hey, it's less jank than a lot of the other cases I've seen. We need to make sure that it is all aligned exact, and then we can push it down. We're going with this black enclosure without the SCART. Personally, I would use the SCART, but that's just because I'm crazy.
You can add it on later.
You can add it in later. Also, you could just, swap the case later if you wanted to. It's not that big a deal. Fairly high quality print, all things considered, except, actually, I'm not sure you're supposed to be able to pet the inside of the case like this.
Oh, dang, it didn't adhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a problem, but it is, it's something they're going to have to figure out for quality control.
Can you get your own files and download them?
Yes, it is open source. So you can download and print this yourself if you so choose. You also can build this PCB yourself if you so choose. I'm not sure you'd want to. Come on. Oh, please. There we go. There we go. We can use these little buttons that I put in. How nice. And it's got the switch there. Ah, beautiful.
So is this like a little mini console?
Yeah, basically. The idea is once you close it up, you don't see any of that jank. The good thing about this case is that it's all in one. So it includes that RAM expansion, it includes the cooling, it includes the snack adapter. So basically you're getting all the stuff you would have to source separately.
It actually feels really soon to just put this together.
Yeah, it goes together really nicely, even though it's a little bit jank. But like, I mean, it's a labor of love. Wait, what am I screwing this into? This is not the screw hole that I'm supposed to be using. All right, all that's left is to add the feet. Oh man, if I were like more attentive to detail, I'd probably like use tweezers for these since my fingers are giant sausages. And we have an assembled Mr. FPGA, or sorry, Mr. Multisystem, designed and developed by Heber Electronics and RMC The Cave. Oh yeah, just in case you were wondering, this is about. Oh, look at the curvature. It's almost perfect. I've got another banana right here, so we can kind of like it's a little bit bigger than two bananas in terms of just overall. Yeah, scale.
How much did we just spend on this?
How much did we spend on this? That's a wonderful question. $231 Canadian for that. That's for the FPGA itself. That's about $199 US. Retail price of the Mr. Multisystem is $169.99 British pounds.
Oh.
So that's another $200. There we go. Should be fine. Let's see. LTT, warning, do not drop. That's a maybe. WASD. Nice. So this fits really nicely right here. Nice. Yeah, it's pricey. It's basically the cost again of another DE10 Nano, but you do get that extra RAM, which is something you normally had to pay like I think like $80 or more for. And wait, what? What is this screwed into? What did I screw it into? Oh, it was the wrong one. I did mess it up. But how come I don't? Okay.
It's okay, I think it should be fine.
It should be fine, but I want to have at least one. Why did I do that? So what should we do first, Jono?
I want to play some games.
Got a couple of console games here. Let's try SNES. All right, let's load up Super Mario World. All right, you can see there it's running at 720p. So that's actually I think that's a 3x scale for what we're looking at here. And it's currently using the whole screen. We can actually set that to be an integer scale if we want. And what that does is it just makes it so that the pixels aren't stretched out. You can also set up some scalar stuff, like you can make it look smoother. You can do scan lines, I think. Yeah, scan lines, which I mean, I kind of dig that, but it's a little bit basic. Delay generally is pretty good, but I mean, the keyboard is only running at 125 hertz as far as its pull rate goes. So it's not like original hardware. So what is like original hardware is the snack. So let's have ourselves a snack here. All right, let's see if that just works. Okay, so I might have to restart the game here. I can set the serial button here, or serial function to snack, and what that lets me do, aha. Now I'm using an actual Super Nintendo controller on this with original delay. So the only lag that I'm getting here is the lag that I'm getting from the display. Everything is instantaneous.
If we had a 360 hertz monitor, would that be faster?
I mean, it all depends. It's not going to be running at 360 hertz, but if the monitor's delay is lower, then that would definitely help. This is a kind of an older monitor, so it's not the fastest thing in the world. It's totally fine. But yeah, the Super Nintendo controller totally works. I wonder though, I have a Super Nintendo mouse. You want to set up some Mario Paint? And oh yeah. But yeah, like if I were to do like L T T. Oh, I'm not using the official mouse pad.
Doesn't the official mouse pad? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I feel like there's a little bit of delay actually. So like I'm. Is it like angle snapping or something? I feel like maybe this is how it works in the original as well. I'm not. It's been a hot minute since I've done anything, but like, see that? When I click, it like stops the movement. I don't remember that happening in the original cartridge. I think I'm done with Super Nintendo for now. First, I would like to try my Sega Genesis controller. It's just a 6-button controller. Cable is very frayed because as a kid I didn't tie up cables like this. I just, you know, I wrapped it around the controller like this as tightly as possible. Which is actually bad for controllers. One thing to note, you cannot use a snack on incompatible hardware. So I can't use a Genesis 6-button controller, at least not via a snack, to play Super Nintendo games.
Can I use an 8-bit? No.
Yes. 8-bit controller or anything like that, like an Xbox controller, you can pair that and it'll be fine. It's kind of a bad version of Afterburner, if I'm being honest.
It looked cool.
It looks good. It's not as good as the arcade version, though. All right, well, there's another reason why I have the Genesis version of Afterburner on there. And the reason is this. Analog Joy, there it is. Start. That's really gratifying. And this is what you can do with a snack. They have snacks for the TurboGrafx 16, the NES, the Sega Genesis, and the Super Nintendo. They basically work with every peripheral. Like I don't think that there's a peripheral that it wouldn't work with, because it's just passing the raw data through to the core. Now, those cores, they are basically emulators, but they're running on the FPGA itself, so there's no delay. That's kind of the advantage you get with the FPGA. Arcade, a whole bunch of arcade games. Computers, Acorn Atom, a bunch that I haven't heard of, like the Alice MC-10, Apple I, Apple II, Atari 800, Atari ST, BBC Micro, Commodore 64, Color Computer, a couple of others that I've never heard of. I think this might be Polish. And for consoles, we got all the Atari, except for the Jaguar. Yeah, no Jaguar. GBA, ColecoVision, NES, WonderSwan. Yeah, so everything up to the 16-bit generation. And that's the Mr. FPGA, Mr. Multisystem. The Mr. Multisystem really brings the entire experience together. I think if I just had that FPGA sitting on my desk doing this, I mean, it would feel pretty rad, like, oh wow, I'm a hacker man. But at the same time, it's not something that I would want sitting on my entertainment center. This is something that I could see myself wanting on my entertainment center. This is a very cohesive piece of kit, and dare I say it's nice. Is it worth it? If you're the kind of person who's like, I don't care, I just want to play the games, then probably not. The NES Mini or even a Raspberry Pi with Emulation Station on it would probably be more than enough. For people who want the original experiences, people who want to see what it was like to use these weird controllers, to see what it was like to see these games running on original monitors, or discover new things that they'd never thought that they would be interested in before, then I think it's a really great platform. Anyway, if you thought this was a rather nice short circuit, maybe you want to get subscribed so you see others like this one. Maybe you want to check out RetroTink or the OSSC if you want to do some more retro time. Or, you could not do that and check out something else like Alex does cars sometimes. It's weird.